clear to kill. He's abandoned bandit. Engine class. Fox in airport bingo for firing a missile.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another video. My name is Future Nightmares, and today we're going to be talking about the Razbam and ED situation. But this isn't going to be me talking about like any new information, because this is just more or less my opinions and how I'd be moving forward as a content creator if Razbam were to come back. Now, surprisingly, ED did respond to my last Razbam video. A lot of people may have not seen that, but they did. Now, just so all my viewers know, I'm going to be sending this video directly to 9line, because I want him to at least watch this aspect. Now, it's up to him if he watches the video. He might just be like, ah, fuck this guy, I'm not going to listen to his garbage anymore. But I want to say this to 9line, that it shows a massive amount of respect, not only to your company that you work for, but also to the community as a whole, being willing to stick your neck out on such a publicly scathing video and go into the comments publicly and to address the criticism directly. And be willing to take some of that criticism and say, like, you know what, maybe this guy's actually right on something, you know, given the fact that you and I both agree that maybe the modules coming down sooner was a better idea. And what that shows to me, and I hope it shows to not only my community, but the rest of the DCS community, that ED and you care more about the community than most people think you do. Because in all honesty, I think that a lot of people give you guys what I would consider invalid criticism. I think that people will say that ED is the worst company because the F-16 doesn't pull 9Gs at 5,000 feet at 300 knots like it's supposed to, and that means ED is the worst company, and I don't think that's valid. And I've dealt with way worse companies, and I don't think you come anywhere close to being considered a bad company or a worse company. I've definitely dealt with a lot worse, Activision being one of them. But going out on a video like that and taking the criticism and being willing to respond shows that level of respect and that respect to the community. And I think that should be recognized. And it shows what kind of person you are, and it shows that you are a good person. Now, you and I may not agree on things, and there's going to be times that you and I like each other, and there's going to be times that you and I hate each other, depending on what the situation is. And I want to give credit where credit is due and say that what you did, sticking your neck out like that, shows a lot of humility and shows a lot of respect to the community as a whole. And I think as a company, and I think as a person, in terms of the community as a whole and the flight sim community, that should be 100% appreciated by the community as a whole. But with that out of the way, talking about me as a content creator and as a consumer of ED's product, how do I feel about whether if Razbam were to come back or not? And to be honest, I've got mixed feelings, because in terms of the community aspect as a whole, having Razbam and Razbam modules back would be beneficial to DCS as a video game, just because the fact that you're going to be filling that line out and make the game feel more complete. And in terms of that aspect in the community and people flying those modules that they do appreciate, like the Harrier, the F-15E, the Mirage, like all those modules, people are going to feel like the game is more complete. And to that aspect, I would want Razbam to come back. But in terms of as a consumer, there's one thing that really irks me about the whole Razbam situation, and that is the level of unprofessionalism by Razbam's CEO and Razbam as a company. Now, Razbam's CEO, Ron, or he goes by Prowler on Discord, the public outbursts have been so unbelievably unprofessional as a company. When you're presenting yourself as a professional module maker or a professional third-party developer for a product, you should carry yourself in a way that is professional. And I don't think Razbam has been doing that whatsoever, in my personal opinion. And that gives me pause as a content creator and a consumer, because if something was wrong with one of their modules, so let's say, like, I don't know, like, let's say the wing was put on backwards in the modeling phase or whatever, and I was critical of that. With that level of unprofessionalism that Razbam has shown, I wouldn't feel comfortable with giving them my money, because I would feel like there's a possibility of me being attacked as a content creator or as a consumer for just pointing something like that out, just because of the whole outburst that they've been having with ED as a whole. And when it comes to spending my money, I wouldn't want to spend my money on somebody who acts in such an unprofessional way. Now, I've gotten a lot of stuff done through Fiverr, and I'm going to be bringing up Fiverr in this, which is going to be insane for a lot of people. But when it comes to people on Fiverr, when you're giving someone criticism or you are wanting a revision done, they are single individuals. Like sometimes they're a little bit of a bigger company, but most of the time it's just one person doing the job. And they always carry themselves in a professional way when it comes to responding to criticism, when it comes to anything of that nature. They always respond in such a professional way, at least from any time I've ordered something from like a 5-star or a 4-star person working on Fiverr. And that level of professionalism always makes me want to come back to work with them, and I have. And that's why I continue to keep supporting them by giving them my money, because they act in a professional way. And when you're doing these kind of business transactions, you want to work with somebody who is going to act in a professional way, and Razbam hasn't done that. And when it comes to me buying a product, I always look at it in a way of a business transaction, in the sense that I'm giving you my money in terms of like a content creator, and I'm going to take that content and I'm going to make a video about it, and therefore it's a business transaction for me. And if somebody's going to be so unprofessional, I will not give them my money, because they are not a professional business provider. So it's given me pause with Razbam as a company, to the point where I'm pretty much saying that I won't buy a Razbam module, even if they were to come back, even if they made a module of something that I really wanted to fly, like for instance, like the Gripen or the Rafale, or, you know, maybe a J10. I would love to fly a J10 in DCS, basically a 2-seater F-16 from China. Like, why not? Let's have that in the game. It would be super cool. But it would give me pause if it has the Razbam logo on it, because they've been acting in such an unprofessional way. And even more so in like the business side of aspect. If Razbam doesn't come back, I'm not going to blame ED. I won't blame ED for that, and I would be 100% understanding of ED. Irregardless of whether ED is in the right or Razbam's in the right, I would understand ED saying, no, we're not working with Razbam. And the reason why is because, let's be honest, Razbam has done irreparable harm to Eagle Dynamics and DCS as a game as a whole. They have. We have to be 100% honest. That's what they've done. Now, whether their claims have been truthful or honest, and Razbam's actually in the right, they have done irreparable harm, not only to the community, but to ED as a company. Now, I don't know what the financial situation looks like with the whole situation, if sales have gone down, whether the player base has gone down since the whole situation. That I don't know. That's all on ED side, but I would imagine that is the case because of the whole situation. I would imagine so. And if I was Eagle Dynamics, like let's say hypothetically I'm Eagle Dynamics, the company, and looking at it as a business aspect. And again, going back to those transactions, because of that unprofessional behavior as a third-party contractor, I would be very wary of working with them again, because what happens if, you know, I bring them back into underneath the umbrella as a third-party contractor, and they just do this again and causing more irreparable harm to my brand and to the product that I am making. And to that, I would say that if I was ED as a company, I probably wouldn't bring Razbam back. Now, as part of a community member and understanding that Razbam modules are good for the game and good for the community and good for content creation, good for all that, I would want Razbam back. But in terms of business, as a business, if I was running ED, I wouldn't want them back for that very reason, because they've caused that irreparable harm and tarnished the brand of the company that I'm working for. So if ED turned around and said, you know what, we're done, we're washing our hands away with Razbam, we're done with them, they're never going to work for us again, I would honestly not hold it against them. I know a lot of people in the community would, but you do have to understand that in the end, ED is a business, and that you do have to recognize that with the public allegations that Razbam has made, it has done irreparable harm in terms of the community as a whole and to ED as a company. You have to recognize that. You have to be 100% honest about that. Whether you think it's valid in terms of what Razbam is saying, it doesn't matter. They have caused irreparable harm. Now, in terms of criticism, in terms of the community, there's a lot of irrational actors in terms of the community in criticizing ED and both criticizing Razbam. Now, before I continue, I want to say it is on both sides. There are people who are being irrational on both sides in defending both these companies. And I'm going to use the DCS Exposed Reddit page, but I want to say full out 100%, it's on both sides. So I'm just using this as an example. Now, I'm a philosophy guy. So what I mean by somebody being irrational is somebody who's committed a logical fallacy and continues to claim that as truth while they are committing a logical fallacy to get to that truth claim. And the one thing you'll notice on the DCS Exposed Reddit page is that they commit a logical fallacy called circular reasoning. And it goes like this. Razbam makes a claim. Well, the claim is true because Razbam says so. How do I know it's true? Because Razbam said so. And it's a circular reasoning to coming to the truth. And then they'll also go with appeal to authority, saying that, well, ED is wrong because I'm appealing to Razbam, who's the authority of the truth. And they're committing two logical fallacies, and they're continuously spreading these allegations as a truth claim, even though they are committing very bad logical fallacies here. Now, it doesn't mean that what they're saying could be wrong. It could be still 100% true that Razbam is telling the truth the whole time and nothing but the truth. But it just means that the way that they're coming to the truth is in an irrational way because they're committing logical fallacies to do so. And I think when it comes to the community as a whole, you need to recognize on ways to being critical without being irrational and committing these logical fallacies, and to remain vigilant into trying to stick with the truth with the information that we have. And frankly, let's be honest, we don't have any information whatsoever. We have the claims based off of Razbam and ED, and that's it. We don't have any other evidence beyond that. So anybody claiming that if you go to X Reddit page, there's all the evidence, it's none of that. We haven't gotten any public information. We haven't gotten any leaked info whatsoever to make truth claims on whether one side did something wrong or the other side did something wrong. We are in the sea of gray and have no fucking idea what's happening. And we should refrain ourselves from making irrational claims based off of truth when we'd be following logical fallacies to coming to a truth claim to defend either ED or Razbam. And what the community should be doing as a whole is either criticizing or praising the companies for doing things like, for instance, like what I did with Nineline, praising them for when they do something right and criticize them for when they do something wrong. And when you don't have the information to criticize them based off something they did wrong, then you can't really criticize them without being irrational. And we should always refrain from committing those fallacies and being irrational. Anyways, that's pretty much all I got to say in terms of the rest of the situation, my inner thoughts and like dealing with the whole gray area aspect of things. And I know there's probably going to be some hot takes and some people are going to really disagree with me on this video, but anyways, my name is Future Nightmare signing off. Yell at me in the comments.